All right, I think we are live. So welcome everyone to another Matt Maran Motoring live stream here on the Matt Maran Motoring YouTube channel. Hope you're all having a great week here so far. Thanks so much for stopping by, and happy to be back after taking off Sunday here due to being sick and still a little sick, but just go for an hour here, and I think my voice should be able to hold up okay. Yeah, hope you guys have had a good holiday here over the past week or so, and like all the other usual live streams for anyone that might happen to be new here. Just go for an hour. I give priority answering to those members as well as anyone who does a super chat. Looking forward to chatting here tonight. And I see we have Brian, Lanswath, Michelle, and Luke, and Mr. 5. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late as well. I see Brian says his car spots this week were a Ford Fairlane and a C6 Corvette. Hope you're feeling better and hope you had a good Thanksgiving too. Thank you. I did. And those are some nice spots. The Fairlane is really cool, especially this time of year to see one of those. So that's awesome. And Lancelot says, good evening. He hopes everyone had a good holiday too. His spots were a black TRX and a Raptor R. Very nice with a Raptor R. That's a fun combo. And both are such fun trucks. If you're playing around, in the dirt or something like that. And Michelle says, hey, and it says his spots are a Dodge Nitro, nice Pontiac Solstice, and a new USPS truck in my neighborhood for the first time. I didn't know they were actually hitting the roads yet. I saw there was just a review that someone just did of one, but I didn't know that they actually were out there already. So that's cool. Awesome. All those clackety old USPS trucks can finally be put to rest. So that's good. That's fun. I don't know when I'm going to see one of those. I'm excited to see because those things are hideous. So it'll be interesting to see when I do. And Luke says, I hope you're feeling better. Thank you. He says, I-90 from Shekinady, New York. Probably said that wrong, but was quite intense to drive yesterday. Erie, PA was the worst part. Man, I-90 is pretty crazy. And sorry you were dealing with crazy drivers, I'm sure, and hopefully the weather wasn't too bad here with this storm over the past week for you, Luke. But I hope you're doing okay, and thanks for stopping by. He says he saw a really strange mail truck. It had a Jeep Wrangler front end, but a normal mail truck back end. Interesting, huh? I don't think I've seen one of those before. That's cool. I've seen the Jeeps before, but never a combo of the two. That's surprising. Nice spot. And I see Mr. 705 and Kraken. Thanks for stopping by. Theodore says, saw AC Cobra in someone's garage because of the snow, but it still looked cool. Oh, yeah, cool. You're able to see through the garage to notice that. And Luke's helping me out with the pronunciation here. He says, Schenectady, New York. Is that correct? I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate it. And Michelle says it's not as hideous as it looks in pictures. Definitely not the best looking thing either, but considering the purpose of it, can't complain too much on the looks of a mail truck. Yeah, I agree. It's fine. Obviously, they're not supposed to make something beautiful, but to me, like that design is, I mean, I haven't seen one in person, so maybe it is better, but it's so bad that it's like they actually tried to make it terrible. Like, I think it would have been easier, and maybe there's packaging reasons why it's shaped the way it is. I feel like it'd be easier just to make it a box, like make it a square thing, make a mini, Rivian van or whatever you want to do, and like it would have been fine. And instead, it's got to have like a platypus nose on it, and it just seems, I don't know. I'd love to pop the hood and see what's going on under there and why they decided to do that, but interesting stuff for sure. Let me see. And Luke says, did you enjoy that seat I sent you a pic from Texas? I saw it was a few days ago. You sent me one of your spots, but I don't recall. Oh, the Seat. Sorry, brain fart. Yes, the Seat. So yeah, Luke saw a Seat, and I'm guessing it came up from Mexico or South America. Every once in a while, I see even like Panama plates and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I guess that's what happened there, and I love the Seats seem really cool. It'd be fun to see something like that here in the States. And I think they had talked about bringing Cupra, which is the performance arm of Seat, to America. But then I think they scrapped those plans once the tariffs started getting announced. They're just like, all right, forget this. There's no way we're making this work. And so we lost it as a result. Another casualty of tariffs. But anyway, Tumbling Mustard, thanks for stopping by. He says, I found out this week that there are 3 Ranger Raptors in my neighborhood. Wow. Well, I think, yeah, it makes sense, especially out there where you are. It's got a bunch of opportunities to probably have fun with Ranger Raptors, I'm sure. So and I mean, they seem like great vehicles. Again, I'm dying to review one still because it seems like it's got to be the best bang for your buck as far as mid-size off-roaders goes, if you're actually serious about that kind of thing. And yeah, I just haven't had any luck getting my hands on one so far. But Michelle says, have you seen the Prelude markups? The highest I saw, I think, was 72 grand. Wow. Yeah, I think I can't remember what the highest one I saw was. I thought it was in the 60s, but 72. Dealers are going to do their thing, and hopefully everyone just laughs at them and no one actually supports that with a purchase. But I don't know who's going to be buying one aside from Honda Pro Jason. I think he's the only one I know of who's actually going to buy one of those things. Because even for content purposes, this is kind of, unless you are him, for anyone else, any other YouTuber, like it's, there's nothing there content wise. I mean, it's already been shown in the 0 to 60s and like the 8-second range. It's even slower than a regular Civic Hybrid, amazingly. I don't know how they even managed to do that, but they screwed it up that badly that it's like a second and a half slower for a 0 to 60 with the same powertrain, and you would think less weight. But anyway, so like that's already been done on camera. And okay, best case scenario, it handles as well as the Type R, which it's not going to because it doesn't have the same tire setup and other stuff. But even if, great, it handles like Type R with 200 horsepower, where do you go with that? There's no turbo, you can't tune it. Aside from old school hot rodding the engine, which I don't know how the hybrid system would even react to that. There's no modability, at least powertrain wise. So yeah. I don't think it makes sense for regular consumers to buy them. I don't think it makes sense for YouTubers to buy them. Yeah, it makes no sense. Nice cruiser if you got money to burn, I guess, and you want good fuel economy. But that's there. I could give you a list of 20 other vehicles I'd rather have for the same money, if that's all that your requirements are. So anyway, yeah, that's unfortunate, and we'll see where it goes. We sit back with our popcorn and see how it all goes down. But Fastlin says, hi Matt, I may or may not have almost fell in love with the Hellcat on the interstate. I really just been doing nice, cool long drives to take my mind off stuff. Nice. Well, that's certainly a great way to help ease your mind. I know it's always one of my favorite things to do. Just in the evening, go for a drive if I have the time. It's just always a very soothing thing for sure. So I'm glad you're enjoying the drives there. And Kraken says he's petitioning for me to review a new mail truck. Hey, if the USPS wants to hit me up, that's probably one of the only departments of, I guess, subsidiaries or whatever of the government I actually, collaborate with. But yeah, I'd review one. That'd be a fun thing for laughs. Be a great April Fool's video. But we'll see what happens. One guy says, with the announcements today regarding allowing the smaller Japanese cars being built here, what obstacles will there be in getting the $10,000 Toyota truck here? I didn't hear that announcement today, so maybe someone can fill me in here. So they're going to allow smaller Japanese vehicles. If you're talking about, I know in the past week or two, they were committing to having some of the cars built in America be imported into Japan. So like build JDM market Camrys, for example, and ship them into Japan and things like that. But I hadn't heard about smaller vehicles. If you're talking about K cars or something like that, that definitely piques my interest because I'd love to see more affordable small vehicles like that brought here. But I haven't heard anything about that, so I can't weigh in until I get the full scoop on that. And sorry that I just hadn't looked at everything today news-wise. So I'm excited for the other Toyota news, coming out tomorrow night if you're on the East Coast here, where they're going to be revealing, the GR Sport. It seems like from the teaser image, or not. What do they call it? Yeah, is it the GR? the GR GT or whatever. And then the seems like the Lexus version is gonna be revealed as well, which we already basically saw the full thing in concept form, at Monterey there. But so I think those two both be revealed here late tomorrow night. And I am planning on doing a video on that. I don't have any embargoed info or anything yet. I'm hoping maybe I get some stuff tomorrow. I'm not sure, but regardless, if nothing else, I'll just be posting a video late tomorrow night, giving all my thoughts on it and giving all the info and reacting to that. So stay tuned for that tomorrow night. I'm going to try and, do these little office videos a little bit more often if I can, just to try and get these view numbers to be slightly better and boost this channel a little bit if I can. So I'm excited for that news. So stay tuned for that. But haven't heard the other stuff. I'll have to look into that. And Vishal says they sold 30 Preludes in the first month of sale in the U.S. A blank check buyers are going for it. 30 already. So I guess we're talking about November. Maybe there's a few that just showed up. So, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. And, if you get a little bit of a jump there in the beginning, it wouldn't be shocking because, again, there are those blank check buyers and there are, the Honda fanboys, like, again, Honda Pro Jason. No matter what that car was, he would buy one, So, I mean, again, I love Jason. He's very nice. No disrespect, but like, there are people like him out there that it doesn't matter how terrible the car is or how much it costs, they'll buy it. 30, it's not really anything to brag about, but yes, it's more than zero. So they have convinced at least 30 people to go for that. But, I mean, there's, I'm sure, pre-order lists of some of these dealers that immediately sold through the first, one or two. So there's going to be a little bit of that, but I don't expect that to last. I'd love to be wrong. Again, maybe if people are dying to blow, $45,000 or more with markups on a 200 horsepower car, I don't know. We'll have to, again, just be fun to watch and see. Rock, thanks so much for stopping by. And Vishal also says, did you see that JLR fired the design boss who was behind the Type 00 concept? I did see that, which is strange because there must be some more stuff going on behind the scenes there as far as why that happened. Because I believe, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that's the same person that designed the Land Rover Defender, which is a huge hit. And I was even just thinking today, I think outside of mainstream stuff, like as far as luxury branded stuff goes, I think I see more Defenders in my area than any other vehicle. I love seeing them, but it's like they're so common. It was a huge hit for them, and they absolutely played that right. I think the Type 00 also looks fantastic. Like, you put that next to any regular car on the road and it's going to stand out, even from like Rolls Royces and stuff. So I think that's a home run too. And I don't know why you'd fire that guy. Clearly, unless his time is done. And, again, we don't know the whole story, right? I don't know if he was he actually fired? Did he quit? Was it just one of those like, well, my work here is done, I'm moving on to something else? I don't know, how that all played out. Maybe there's more to the story that I just haven't caught beyond the headlines, but yeah, kind of strange there, because seems like a good designer, especially these days. Some of these other designs and designers that they're putting out, I mean, I think that design boss has pretty good taste in cars, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully whoever he is, I hope they move on to something else. Maybe they can, revive the designs at BMW or some other company that needs the help a little bit more. I don't know. And Patricia says, greatest YouTuber of all time. Thank you, Patricia. And thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you're doing well too. And Fastlin says, oh, Matt, I also want to say I'm not too much of a fan of small cars. I'm more mid-size SUV guy, but that Nissan Sentra you reviewed actually was pretty good. I loved it. I watched both reviews. Well, thank you for watching them. Really appreciate that. And yeah, Sentra's great. It's a really solid little car. And again, especially these days, with prices just getting so high, I think the fact that, no matter how much you load up a Sentra, it doesn't get over 30 grand is really nice. And I think we need more of that pricing discipline as far as cars these days. So I love that. And again, it's a great car too. It doesn't need to be a penalty box, to make any excuses. It's actually one of the nicest in the segment as well. So I'm glad you liked it too. And Ahmed says, which do you think is the more fun car between the Lexus IS 350 and the RC 350? Um, I mean, they honestly drive really similarly. It's honestly coming down to just do you want two doors or four doors? They both drive very nicely. Um, same powertrains, obviously, and all that. So I guess it comes down to what feels more fun to you. But between the two, I don't think there's really any discernible difference as far as driving dynamics, really. I mean, I will say it's been a few years since I've driven either of them, but yeah, I mean, from my pretty clear recollection, I mean, I spent multiple weeks with RC 350s, did multiple reviews on IS 350s. They're both great, but I don't think there's really any difference. So if you like the two-door look, or if that feels sportier to you and feels more fun as a result, than RC, I suppose. But it's very similar underneath, I think, as far as all the mechanical stuff goes. And Mr. 705 says, how's the Jaguar video doing? I really like the short format. And it was a good topic. I'm glad you liked it. Unfortunately, it has bombed. Very bad views. The only thing that's gotten worse views in that video recently was the POVs. And even some of those have done a little bit better than that. But and that also, I'm scaling back on the POVs if you haven't noticed. It's going to be something that I'm only going to really do going forward for interesting vehicles. Because it seems like interesting vehicles typically get a little bit better views and make it, worthwhile. But like that Expedition I did has like 630 views or something. And yeah, it's only like me strapping a GoPro to my head and driving around for 20 minutes. But the hour that takes, 630 views isn't even worth an hour of work. Honestly, like it's not worth it. So I'm going to really focus on, again, cars where people actually want to be behind the wheel, and doing it on that stuff instead primarily. But the Jag video, yeah, didn't do well. And that was, again, that's part of the experimentation process. You never know how those things are going to do, but that was, me trying to switch it up a little bit. I did script that video and really tried to optimize the titles, the thumbnails, and ran everything through ChatGPT to try and amp up the click-through rate and amp up the appeal and do all these types of things to really fixate on the ideation part of the video before. Usually I just film a video, I edit it, and I throw it up, and there's not a whole lot of sitting down and planning the video. This one I really kind of planned out and was very also strategic about, like, okay, I'm choosing to make this under 8 minutes, make it a short video, easy to watch. Now that hurts the ad revenue because I can't insert the mid-roll ads unless it's over 8 minutes. But I'm like, 5-minute video. It's quick, it's short, it's to the point. I thought that would be appreciated. Maybe that's a video that someday will take off. I don't know. But as far as, initial views, it's like, I think at 1,100 views or something. So terrible and not also, really worth doing if that's all it's going to get. So, we'll see. I think, I thought that maybe I could get a little bit of the similar kind of audience that enjoy the Prelude rant. And, I'm still going to try, I think, doing a couple more of the used car bargain things. I think, again, that's something I feel passionate about and something that, as we get into these days where everyone's asking ChatGPT for car advice now, I think, having these videos where I call out bargains that I don't think ChatGPT can yet, say, hey, this is a lot of car for the money on the used market and scour classified ads. I don't think it's that smart yet. So I think for the time being, I have a little bit of an edge there. So, something I think it's worth kind of continuing to pivot into and seeing if I can, drum up some more appeal with, those. But yeah, it's again, part of my efforts to just try everything here as my last stand here for the channel to try and get things moving in the right direction. But it doesn't seem like that kind of a video is going to, at least that topic. It might have just been a bad topic, and maybe if I try another topic, it'll be better. But yeah, just gonna keep experimenting, and that's That's all you can do, I guess, these days. And Nintendo Atari Killer, thank you so much for being a member for 15 months now. I really appreciate it. They said, we got to gatekeep the Mirage from ChatGPT. Go for it. Anything you can keep away from ChatGPT sounds good to me. So, yeah, that's, yeah, I am hoping to, I have a couple gaps in the schedule here for the end of the year. I may try and sneak in a Mirage review before the end of the year. We'll see what happens. But let me see. So, and thank you for being a member for 15 months. I really appreciate it. And Vishal says, it seems he was told to leave the business, basically shown the door, not much more details given, definitely a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on. Interesting. So the designer was told to leave designing in general or just JLR. Either way, that's crazy. And I can't imagine it has anything to do with his work. So unless there's got to be some personal issue or some scandal or something brewing instead. I don't know. Because, yeah, to me, again, I don't know their full portfolio of stuff they've done, but I don't know. I think the reception also, like, to that Jag concept in the real world, not just the internet haters online, but like in the real world, when I've talked to people, that have seen it in person and have talked to, executives at JLR, they're very happy with the response. And for the type of buyers they're going after, they're getting exactly the kind of interest that they're hoping for. So I think that car has already proven to be an early success, but we'll see. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I heard also Lucid had a shakeup. I think they lost one of their chief engineers here this week after, they're still 9 months now, I think, without a CEO. And I don't know what's going on with Lucid either. They seem to have some turmoil behind the scenes too. So it'll be interesting to see how, everything's still very turbulent times, and it's not going to calm down anytime soon, I think, as we see the full crunch from buyers here. I think that's impending pretty soon. It's going to be interesting to see what gets shaken up. And let me see. Also following up on the other stuff, Kraken says he tried a POV drive video with Kraken, only got 150 views. I don't know if I'm going to keep going with them, to be honest. Yeah, it's tough. The POV thing has very much been done a lot and done very well already, and there's not a whole lot of variation you can do there. And that's kind of why my attempt was, hey, let's do something a little different. And instead of just talking and speeding on camera, let's just do a relaxing drive. And I thought that these days people would use a nice relaxing drive. And maybe, some people obviously did appreciate them, but it's really just not enough, again, for the kind of success that I need for something to, be worth my time. So, but yeah, we'll keep on trying it and see what happens. But Ahmed says, I was asking because the RC uses the ES chassis, so it's 200 pounds heavier. I was wondering if that makes a difference. Yeah, I mean, to me, it drives so similarly. So yeah, I'd really have to drive them both back to back, but to me, yeah, they just drive identically, in my opinion, honestly. But definitely test drive them both if you can. Figure out for yourself. You might pick up on some stuff that I either hadn't or just didn't, for whatever reason. So hopefully you can test drive both, because they're both very common vehicles, so it shouldn't be too hard, hopefully, especially if you're looking to use ones. And Ahmed also said, I was going to say the POV drive should be reserved for sporty cars, primarily because those are the POV drives people want to see. Yeah, I thought that it was going to be less car dependent because I'm not going fast. I'm literally doing the speed limit because I'm not going to film myself speeding. And I thought that people would be annoyed about me actually going slow in a sports car, but it seems like people actually seem to have liked the sporty, ones better. I thought it was going to be more environmental, that's why in the titles I played up, like, it's a relaxing fall foliage drive, or it's a summer afternoon drive, or a summer morning drive with the windows down, or, and I was really trying to kind of play to that with the car being somewhat secondary. Which, again, maybe is the wrong approach, but just, again, trying to find ways to differentiate. It's like, well, no one else is really focusing on the environmental component of the drive. And, again, everyone's more intense and, hey, let's see how fast we can go on this off ramp and, stuff like that. And, yeah, but I guess, just shows people mostly when they're watching POV content want to see a fast POV drive if you're watching a POV drive. Yeah, we keep on, learning lessons and taking notes and see where it goes. And Kraken says the Jag video is actually at 1,100 views, 670-ish views on the Expedition POV. Thanks for the official numbers there, Kraken. And that Expedition one is the worst video I've posted in a long time, I think. And Vishal says, in the most recent junkyard video, pretty impressive. You found a Ford Pinto. Really fascinating to see what an economy car was from that era. Yeah, and I loved seeing that Pinto. That was so exciting. I'm glad you enjoyed watching that too. And thanks for watching the junkyard ones as well. I think that's one of the experiments that has cautiously, given me some early signs of success and possibly being on the right track there as far as those go. We'll see, how long that lasts, but yeah, the Pinto is cool. And yeah, that I think is a car that I think even Ford could really benefit from, like looking back on and, saying, hey, look, like, yes, we're in a connected world now and you have to have a backup camera and, those other things, but like you can have something similarly basic and, like there's nothing stopping them from doing that. I mean, you can do a Pinto these days, just, obviously you need a little bit more safety tech and stuff. But like, if, why do we not have more Mirages, honestly? I mean, I guess Mirage hasn't sold super well, but like, I think if Ford is really talking about affordability, then like that's the kind of stuff they should be doing. Now, I did see there was an article that was put out this week that was talking about, I guess there was an interview done with Ford's CEO by some other YouTuber, and they were talking about how they're saying there's going to be the same platform, the electric platform is going to underpin this weird truck kind of cheap $30,000-ish thing that they're working on, is also supposedly going to underpin a rear-wheel drive sporty sedan, which was exciting to hear. I mean, I think it was kind of like confirmed. Again, I didn't get all the details, but like, they're saying it's going to be cheap and still be fun and be, a little sporty sedan. And if that's true, I mean, it'll be electric, so that's, going to be a hurdle for a lot of people, but like, fun little rear-wheel drive electric sedan sounds great to me, and that would be awesome. And I don't know the viability of that, because like Kia just bailed on the EV4. We just saw that announcement here in the past week or two, and so I mean, Ford has the advantage of hopefully building it in North America, so they might not have the tariff issue that Kia would have with the EV4. But like, if it's tough for the economics for that kind of stuff, I just wonder what is actually going to be affordable. But I hope that Ford does continue to talk about and actually put out affordable stuff, because even like the Maverick's kind of pricey these days. It's kind of a shame. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think I'm very excited to see Slate and how that does. If because that's truly the Slate is kind of the first honest attempt at a real bare bones car. And does that play with modern drivers? Can they actually sell these things? If they can, I think that opens up a whole wonderful world of, no frills interiors, roll up windows, that kind of stuff. And like truly getting to, back to basics for people who don't need all the extra stuff, or don't want it because it's, a negative in their mind. So I think it's going to be exciting to see. I can't wait for Slate to hit the market and see how that does. Let me see. Also, Kraken, thanks so much for being a member for 44 months now. He says, reminder for Matt to make a 4-year member sticker. I honestly forgot about this. So I'll have to look. I thought I did do a 4-year one. I thought I did, unless has time really gone by this quickly? I could have sworn, because I mean I introduced the memberships back in March, and I'm pretty sure I did a new one this year. But thank you for the reminder. I will have to check that. Yeah, because clearly if you're at 44 months, yeah, then you're close to being at the 4-year mark there. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, so you're still good with your 3-year one then, because you are still not at the 4-year mark yet there. So once we hit that though next year, I will absolutely get to work on that. And thanks for being on top of that, Kraken. And let me see. So I, El Jeff says, could you be overthinking this? I started watching your videos because of your enthusiasm about cars seemed authentic, not just another car reviewer. I would find a way to get back to that. I appreciate the feedback. And so, I mean, I'm definitely an overthinker, so that is entirely possible. Um, so I guess it comes down to, where you think enthusiasm is lacking. I love hearing this kind of feedback because that's the only way I can get better is truly like, you know, completely honest, raw, feedback on this kind of stuff. Because, obviously from my standpoint, like I feel like I have enthusiasm. And yes, I'm doing some cars that aren't super exciting. And maybe that's kind of what you're referring to there. Um, I think, but I have an enthusiasm for helping people find a car they'll love. And I have a natural curiosity for every car that's out there. And I enjoy every press car just to be like, okay, now I know what that's like. Cross that off my list. It's just kind of just yeah, curiosity that I have, and I enjoy kind of scratching that itch, and I enjoy again helping other people. And so that was kind of the motivation. But um with all of the deliberation that I've been doing, especially in the past couple of months, and the soul searching of, where should I go with this channel? What could possibly move the needle? I think that if your idea of enthusiasm is fun stuff, where I'm, giggling on every acceleration and all that. I mean, some of that's a little elusive, I will say. I mean, I'm not going to giggle as much in a 200 horsepower car as I did 10 years ago when I was reviewing a Civic Si for the first time. So some of that, I've just been spoiled with performance over the past 10 years, and there's no kind of putting the genie back in the bottle there. So some of that will never fully return, but it's not a foolproof thing either, because like I've said a couple times before, one of my craziest reactions I've ever had in a car was the Audi RS e-tron GT. That thing has 10,000 views. No one cared to watch that video, even though it's one of my craziest reactions ever. And I was super enthusiastic. I was having a blast. The thing was crazy fast. But because it was an EV, no one cared. And I've learned, to kind of say no to some of that kind of stuff, no matter how fast it is and stuff. But so like enthusiasm isn't a guarantee either. So it's really a combination of the right kind of car, the right kind of enthusiasm. And I think, as we're seeing again, more and more car shoppers just using ChatGPT, and my services being needed less and less as time goes on with regular car shoppers, I think going back to my roots is the smart move of going back to enthusiast stuff, because enthusiasts are going to watch car reviews and, watch them for fun versus someone who's just like, oh, all right, well, my car just got totaled. I got to figure out what car to buy next. And they go on and, had to sit through me rambling for 30 minutes, for each review or whatever. Now they can tell ChatGPT, here's what I like. Tell me what car to buy next. And ChatGPT will tell you that. And so, I think if my services are just not as needed with those people, I think that it absolutely makes sense to just go back to doing fun stuff and do it for entertainment and just completely give up on the idea of helping people find a car they'll love, which is hard for me to kind of divorce myself from that mentality. And I guess you can still help people even if I'm showing off someone's cool, V8 powered Miata or something. But like, it's just, yeah, it's kind of hard for me because I've really grown to like that. But if it's something again where I can't do it anymore because no one cares, then I'm happy to go have fun blasts and random fun cars, and that is very likely what will end up happening next year if I keep doing this into next year. I think that is probably, I'm looking long term at this. I don't see car reviews for regular cars getting any better as far as a view standpoint, especially because you now have, the AI also generating video and compiling all of the car advice reviews into one consensus and regurgitating, little bits and pieces of everyone's reviews on the same Kia Sportage. And churning it out as some AI generated, thing. And so, I think there could be value in just doing the enthusiast stuff. So I think that's, ironically, it's been a lot of thinking that's brought me to that. But I think that's, over the years, I've heard this, off and on from a lot of people, even going and doing press cars, people were just disappointed that I ever veered away from just doing people's souped up cars that they offered me online. And I mean, it's also, I think, my progression as an enthusiast. I've kind of grown out of the whole mod scene. It's a little harder for me to be seen driving around in something that's, spitting flames or, crackling and popping like it's, the 4th of July. I enjoy that stuff, on occasion, but it's just a little out of personality for me these days. And so I've changed, and I think a lot of my viewers have as well. Thankfully, we've all kind of grown up and we're interested in, more boring cars for some of us, more these days than we used to be. So I think that, that's why this has worked as long as it has. But I think that, it's yeah, kind of, I'm seeing the writing on the wall there as far as the consumer advice stuff goes. And that's why I'm, considering getting back to just enthusiast stuff, which will be harder for sure. Lining up the reviews and lining up schedules and doing more road trips to do these cars, and trying to find awesome stuff. It's tough. I've already done a lot of it already, and I can revisit a lot of it. But it's hard to find a nice 350Z that hasn't been completely ruined. It's hard to find. I mean, take your pick, any car out there that I reviewed. You look back at an old Super Dorks fan review. Try and find another nice Cobalt SS in 2025. Try and find another, you name it, any of these cool, imports or any of these things. I mean, they're pretty rare these days, and it's really hard to get that stuff now in good shape. So, but yeah, I mean, that's absolutely, I think, a thing I'm strongly considering. I've been turning down a lot more trips this year. I've started doing more used car reviews, been turning down more press cars. And I think that, if I have the luxury to continue with this, I'm going to probably, kind of find my roots a little bit more gradually, but I think kind of getting back into that more is definitely on the docket for next year. And thank you so much for the feedback. Again, I'll keep reading the comments here for any follow-ups as well. And Darnell, though, thank you so much, Darnell Walton, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. He says, hope your holidays are going well, sir. Hope yours are going well too. Thank you so much for the generosity. And hope you guys are all having a great holiday season here so far. And let me see. YH, thank you so much for a super chat, and thanks for joining tonight. He says, is there anything worse than Dem racers? I hate wasting my premium gas on them, but I just can't stop myself from giving them the pony flyby there. Well, I mean, I thought, didn't you say you put it in for hibernation? So whatever you're driving now, you maybe still giving people the flybys. I don't know, but that's funny. You still actually get like challenged by racers, quote unquote. I mean, I don't think I've been revved at in years. I mean, again, a lot of the press cars aren't super exciting, but I'm in some cool stuff sometimes, and I never get revved at. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain to think of the last time someone even like messed around with me, at a red light or anything like that. And I don't know. I mean, I know when I had the Aston Martin Vantage earlier, in the spring of this year, I was cruising in a Ferrari GT4 Lusso. I was cruising at a little bit of an elevated speed, and they kind of like kept up with me and were kind of cruising with me for a little bit there. But I think that was honestly the only time this year that someone's like kind of played around with me. And I don't really do a whole lot of that anymore anyway. But I hadn't really have anyone mess with me. I don't know why, but anyway, thank you for the super chat. And hope you still safely enjoy the flybys there. And let me see. So where were we here? I lost my place. So Michelle says the designer was just told to leave JLR, so it seems like they just had beef with him. Interesting. Yeah, I'm hoping we hear the whole story someday. And Fastlin says, I feel like when it comes to drives, yeah, people want to see videos of more aggressive driving. Yeah, which I simply can't do. I'm not going to film myself speeding. Other people get away with it, but there are some people who get hammered for that too every once in a while. Someone is made an example of, and I have zero interest in doing that. It's not worth it, because I don't think that's going to move the needle much, even if I am speeding, and I'm certainly not going to put myself in that kind of a risk, especially as a dad and stuff. It's not worth it to me. So I'll leave that to the braver individuals that I guess have less to lose. I don't know. But for me, like, everything I do is related to me having a driver's license, and I can't do any of this if I do not have a valid driver's license. So the last thing I'm going to do is risk my driver's license, even a little bit. And Nintendo Taricular says, speaking of 70s economy cars, my mom's first car was a Pontiac Acadia, Canadian rebadge. It's an Acadian, a Canadian rebadge of a Chevy Chevette. Interesting. Rear-wheel drive compacts don't really exist anymore. If I remember correctly, last one was the Mercedes 230 or C230 compressor. I guess. I guess it depends on what you mean by compact, because there's obviously like Miatas and BRZs and stuff like that. But I mean, as far as like regular stuff, it's not sports car. Yeah, I guess maybe that was the last one. I don't know. That's interesting. To think about that, but let me see. Kraken also says, while looking, I seen you have a Discord link. I just wanted to join, but it says it's expired. Sorry if I seem like I'm pointing out a lot. No, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, the Discord link, it dies every once in a while, and no one that's in it ever really uses it either. So, I mean, I guess maybe I need to cultivate more conversation in there too, possibly. But I think now also with the community post that I opened up here on the channel as well, people can just write stuff on there too. But yes, if you want to get into the Discord, feel free to send me a message, and I can send you a new link, and get you that so that you can get in. Some people it's easier than others. It depends on how they have their whole Discord stuff set up, because some people have had some issues joining, but it should work. And yeah, let me know if you want to get in. But Michelle says, want to share that I've got a new job and will be relocating to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in the next couple of weeks or so. Well, congrats, and hope the new job's a nice upgrade, and that's exciting. He says, it'll be my first time living away from home at age 25. Excited for new beginnings. Oh, that's awesome. Getting to spread your wings and yeah, that'll be fun to live on your own and do all the adulting. It's fun for sure, and I hope you enjoy it and enjoy the adventure of it all, because that's absolutely what it is. And I hope the new job goes great too. That's awesome. And Danny says, good luck, Matt. Thanks for your content over the years, and thanks to you, I bought a 2014 Subaru WRX hatchback, blue and manual, of course. Great choices. And happy holidays, Matt. Happy holidays to you too. And thanks so much for watching over the years, and I'm happy that the videos helped guide you to the WRX there. It's a great one, and another one that I'd love to revisit here down the road, doing all the old WRXs again. And Liam says, just want to say, I think you're doing a great job. You seem authentic and original. Thank you. I appreciate that. They said, views seem to be getting tougher for even the big guns in the auto world. Fingers crossed 2026 is a success for you. Thank you. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's getting harder for everyone for sure. I think, the difference is there's others who are starting from a higher point, and they can afford to, take the pay cuts. They can afford to take the view cuts. And it's that, unfortunately, I just was already in a perilous position already, and then the extra setbacks this year just kind of put me on the ropes here, but it's tough. And I think, again, that's why I try to cut myself a little bit of slack. I still think that there are some things that kind of just come back to me, but I think that a lot of it is also just stuff beyond me, of just again, the ChatGPT stuff eating in on views. People just still, ever since TikTok came out, I mean, that crushed views like overnight. That was the first kind of blow. And then, once short form wasn't a fad and was here to stay, and people just didn't come back to YouTube very much. There's a lot of people that I lost a lot of viewers, I'm sure, who now are just on TikTok and just don't have the patience for, a 15, 20, 30-minute video. And I mean, we all grew up, again, we're all, growing up and, having families and lives and all this other stuff, and careers to juggle and everything. We just don't have the time we all did 10 years ago to sit around and watch cool car videos. So I think there's some of that natural aging out, and so there's a whole variety of factors that are playing into it. But you're right, the big YouTubers out there are also struggling a little bit too. And I mean, some are still doing great though. I mean, there's some that they are still just on fire and their views are growing and they're doing great. And that's why, again, I think that's, there's these external factors for sure, but I think at the end of the day, there are some reviewers that do the exact same cars that I do from the same exact press fleet. They do videos that are the same length as mine. They give the same information I give. Then they do it in pretty much the same style and they get way more views than I get still. So that's why, part of me just really think that it just comes back to me and just, my lack of polish or whatever, the case is, that holds some people up, my personality, whatever it is. But I think there is some of that, but I think there's other things for sure. But I'm glad that you're enjoying them. And the authentic and the original thing is something that I hope someday does pay off for me, because I do really feel like I don't hold back. I do know others that do feel like they need to hold back, and they can't be as blunt as I am. And I'm still waiting for that to gain some more widespread appreciation and appeal. But that's one of the things I've really tried to change, because I think people used to think I was super positive and I never bashed a car or anything. And I think I've done some pretty savage reviews in the past couple of years, and I've said it right in the title, where I'm just like, this car is not good, or whatever the case is. And roasted stuff, I did plenty of roast this year. I was pissed off about the Polestar 3. I was pissed off about the Rivian and its key situation. I've really gone hard on some of these cars, and I hope that little by little, some people take notice and say, hey, look, this guy's going to give it to me straight, and he's not going to sugarcoat things. He's not going to BS. I can trust that what he's saying is his honest opinion, for better or for worse. It might have a lot of ums and littered throughout, but like it's unfiltered. And hopefully again that counts for something with more people eventually. But still waiting for that to swing around. But anyway, I see we also got in another super chat or super sticker. So thank you so much, Single Cell Organism, for the very generous super sticker there. I appreciate it. And thank you for watching. I love doing this. And yes, I love that. Yeah, so many of you do very much appreciate it. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit behind on the comments with my tangents, but so Kraken says, Matt, I don't know if it waits until you actually get to the 4-year mark, but it doesn't come up for me. I don't think anyone in here has been a member for 4 years, but someone has been a member for longer. Yeah, there's I think there were a few people they signed up in March, so they will, I think you're right, tied with them. I think no one has probably been more than 44 or 45 months. It shouldn't kick over to 4 years until the actual 4-year mark, which would be in March. So that's when it'll kick in, and then I will have to have a new one by then for sure. And member, also Linda, thank you so much for being a member for 39 months now. I really appreciate that. She says, so sorry about your views being down, but I did send a $50 chat a while ago, right at the end of the Sunday night chat. Thank you so much for that. She says, take Beth out to dinner. We'll do. Yeah, we, I think actually whenever you sent that, I remember, I think that was, yeah, I did take the family out for a nice little dinner there. And so thank you so much for that, Linda. And Lancelot, thank you so much also for the very generous super chat here tonight. It says, you're amazing. I appreciate the sticker there as well. And thank you all so much for the love and for, the super chats and stuff. It means more now than ever, for sure. I spent a lot of years being able to just coast and being able to, have fun and not really, worry or stress or work too hard at this, honestly, and been very fortunate and lucky with that. But, now it's been working harder than ever to try and, keep doing this and be able to get, just keep this as a viable thing. So thank you so much for all the super chats and super stickers, everyone, and for the support to the members. Those membership, that really helps to give me a nice baseline too, with, again, a lot of the fluctuations of YouTube in this year in particular. That membership support really does help a lot, and so thank you all so much for that too. And let me see here. So where were we? Darnell Walton says, I wonder if there's a market for going back in time and doing 10 to 15 docu-reviews on ancient cars, 40s, 50s, 60s. I would love to do that stuff. It'd be very fun. And I've done a few reviews of some classics. Some of the muscle car stuff over time has done very well. And so if you look back, I did like a 68 Charger. I did a Plymouth Roadrunner, did a old like 1970 Challenger, and a few other muscle cars. Those actually did do pretty well. There's some other stuff that, bombed, like my 57 Ford Ranchero review that, basically no one really watched that one. So, I think it comes down to the right car once again. The muscle stuff obviously has some more appeal with, the traditional car enthusiasts versus the classic cruisers, which is unfortunate because I personally prefer the cruisers more than the, beat your chest and drive fast in a muscle car kind of thing. So, but those seem to do, have done well in the past. And so I'm open to doing some more of those in the future for sure. But again, that's another one that's a little tricky to get your hands on those kinds of cars. Because I approach reviews and review requests the same way I would if like it was my car, and like I never want to ask someone to review their car. I just don't want to put someone in that awkward position and have them feel any kind of pressure or feel uncomfortable. So I always wait for people to offer stuff to me. And so that kind of, has held me back a little bit on the stuff that's available to me. But I mean, I have a mile-long list of awesome cars all over the country that have been offered to me. And, so I think, again, that's going to be one of the goals next year, is try and, get to more of those if I can, and try and just clear out more time in my schedule possibly to do some of those if the other things that I'm trying don't work out. I think, I'm still going to try and do more of these office videos, because I think that, doing those just little commentary things on current news in the car world or whatever else is far easier. If I can just sit here and, blab for 10 minutes and upload it, and that gets the same views, then I'm absolutely going to do that versus a road trip, to do some crazy in a car or something. So I'm going to, kind of, in the wintertime, obviously, is a great time to experiment with the office stuff. So that's why, for the next few months here, try and do a little bit more of that kind of stuff. And if that, doesn't pan out, then okay, let's go to the next thing on the list to try. And that's, again, going to do more of those member cars or, viewer cars again. I see he's suggesting them being 10 or 15-minute reviews. And I think that is also, the nice thing about the old stuff is I can do them quicker because I don't have to cover an infotainment system or the safety technology or any of that stuff, because there's none of that, so it's just like, hey, look, there's the radio, seats are bench seats. What else can you say? And then you just get on with the drive, So that's something that I think, and I think I'm also going to optimize even just the regular review format next year. I think, when I look at drop off of when people click away from a video and quit watching, I think that for the performance vehicles, it really makes sense to front load the fun. And I think the Charger video was a good example of that, where I, started off with, a little acceleration reaction and started off with a burnout, a drift, revs, all that stuff, and then get into some of the talking. I could have even done a better job of like, putting the interior at the very end of that video. But I think in the future, kind of really deprioritizing the interior stuff on the performance, cars, because I think people that's a secondary thing. And so I think packaging stuff better is something I'm also going to be, reevaluating and changing for sure, with the performance stuff in particular going forward. So there's some of those things for sure that I think I can optimize, but absolutely the old stuff can be nice, quick reviews. And Fastlin says, no matter what other people think or assume, I'll still watch your car reviews. Thank you. I can't even enjoy other reviews. I feel like maybe just think of the fun things to do with the press cars. Yeah, that's the other thing that's always been impressive about stuff like Top Gear and some of these others in the past is, like Jeremy Clarkson managed to do a Ford Fiesta review, but he did it, on what did he do? I think he stormed a beach with a military vehicle and drove the Fiesta into the sand. And I mean, obviously that's like way big budget, crazy kind of stuff, but like, trying to find an adventure angle for some of the like more regular reviews could be a different way to package it. So it's not just, a cut and dry regular review. It's like, hey, let's try and do something crazy. And I actually almost did that. It just didn't work out with my schedule this fall, but there was a really cool Top Gear style idea that I almost did. It didn't work out scheduling wise. And I'm hoping to maybe revisit next fall if I'm still doing this at that point. Because it's a really cool idea. And it was an idea that was kind of brought to me by a car company, and I was like, that actually could be really fun, and I want to explore this. And it just ended up not working out, but I think hopefully I can maybe try it again next year, because it's going to be cool, and I don't want to give it away. But trying to do a little more of an adventure. Now that's again way harder, because again that means planning out a whole big adventure, and usually that's a little bit harder to film. You need exterior cameras, you need other stuff instead of just me throwing a camera on the windshield and a couple others inside the car and driving. But yeah, that'd be something that would be, if I can find a way to do that without a ton of extra work, could definitely be a fun way to do it too. And Kraken says, I only have a boring car. That's called Orca, my Subaru Outback. I have a loud car, and that's the Kraken by a long shot. Yep, you've got both extremes covered there. It's awesome. Also ENG says, not enthusiasm related to high horsepower cars, maybe not reviewing a car in the traditional sense, but highlighting things that make each car cool. Yeah, I mean, I think, that'd be a good thing for short form for sure, if it's just like kind of highlight stuff. But I feel like, I think maybe it just gets buried in the reviews, and so people just don't see it as much. But like, there are things I get really excited about in some cars, or I get very passionate about, like, why is this the way it is, or things like that. And again, it's probably just at the point in a review where people have already clicked away or something. But yeah, trying to just keep them more exciting and have more of that. Just enthusiasm more apparent in the video is definitely something I need to work on for sure. And I see Kraken says, Matt's the only reviewer besides Alex on Autos and Car Confections that I actually watch regularly. Redline became kind of a snob. Some of the other reviewers have gone stale. Well, I will say, I mean, I don't know how, Sophion comes off in his videos, but he knows his stuff, and he's always been so nice to me. I personally don't think he's a snob. We can agree to disagree on that. Sophion is one of my oldest friends in this business, and he's fantastic. And it's just been so nice to me all these years, and I'm very thankful to call him a friend. And I mean, that's he does great stuff, and so that's one of the tough things about this. It's hard to be too competitive, because you're always rooting for everyone else too, because they're also doing awesome stuff, and you love them all to death. They're all fantastic guys and girls, and you want everyone to thrive. And it's just unfortunate that we're all kind of struggling, some more than others, but it's in other industries it might be easier to be cutthroat and screw over somebody or something to get ahead and things like that. But like, none of us want to do that, because we all want to look out for each other. We all are just such great buddies and stuff. It's just trying to put out the best stuff we can, and let the chips fall where they may. But Kraken says he also even lost interest with Carwow. Matt got really picky and naggy. I never really was a fan of Carwow myself, but clearly, again, they have huge views, so we're in the minority there. Kraken on that one. But it's amazing. They've continued to get such great views still. I don't know how much of that's artificial or not, but it's crazy. And let me see. Luke says, I enjoy person reviews more than ChatGPT. I enjoy seeing video of the infotainment, interior, hearing about fuel economy over a week of testing. It gives me something to listen to while working. Yeah, and I'm glad that it can serve that kind of a purpose too. And just kind of give people that extra entertainment maybe they're looking for, or just filling time and stuff like that too. But yeah, I mean, I know that there are always going to be a certain amount of people that always appreciate the human element. But I think, like we're seeing with manual transmissions, like there's still people that enjoy a manual transmission, but is it mainstream appeal? Is it enough to justify building cars that have that? Not really. And it's the same kind of thing for me. Like there will always be people that appreciate a human reviewer, and maybe if you have a large enough viewer base, you'll be able to weather that culling of views. But for me, it's just like I'm that manual transmission car that has to get discontinued eventually because it just doesn't make any business sense anymore. It's kind of that same thing of like there's some people that still appreciate it, but just not enough to make it commercially viable. And I think that's kind of if I can improve things, that's kind of the comparison there, to kind of make sense of it all a little bit. But let me see. Etch says that Ultima was tailgating me. I let him take the right lane, and I just played with him, so he couldn't overtake me. Interesting. They had that big Ultima energy going. That's funny. And Darn Walton says it's always guys in trucks driving like idiots these days instead of the Honda Civics. That's true. You're absolutely right. And you are completely, I think that is the change that's happened. Yeah. Is that everyone, I mean, I think it's different people, but just like I think all the people that used to be the revers and the civics have grown up and stopped doing that. And the next generation, or just the new people that now are finding themselves in something that's not stock, are the lifted truck crowd that, they're the ones that are being obnoxious instead of the people in the souped up civics. I wouldn't mind a souped up civic revving at me these days. I'd much rather have that over some rolling coal idiot. But it's you're absolutely right. That is entirely, man, and that is the worst trade. We had to trade fun people revving civics to now we got these rolling death machines with bumpers that are up to your eyeballs and stuff, blaring light bars in your face and crap. Just the worst timeline. The worst timeline. Anyway, now Vishal says, speaking of racer, I saw the most ridiculous looking current gen Corolla with a giant spoiler, some tacky looking body kit and stuff. To each their own, but damn, that hurt my eyes. See, I'm like, since I'm from that Fast and Furious generation, like I'm kind of nostalgic for that, to the point where like the stuff that used to like be shake my head is now like, oh, that's cute. I remember those times whenever people put body kits on cars and giant spoilers. And I think that's kind of come full circle now to me, where I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I still wouldn't drive around in that, but like I have to tip my hat to someone that's still keeping the early 2000s mod culture alive. That's, to me, just fun to see, I guess, for my own amusement. But Etch says that he gave him the full send there with the flyby. And let me see. So he also, Etch says, once I am forward squeezing in the spring, you can use my POV footage for content. Trust me, I make the coyote scream. Well, you can post that if you want. Just especially in Canada, I wouldn't mess around because they do not take kindly to speeding. So be careful what you post. I'll just say that. And let me see. ENG says, for what it's worth, I started watching back in 2016 Mustang content. I can definitely relate to a change in attitude towards the mod scene, but I'll be watching until you stop uploading. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But thank you so much for the feedback too, because absolutely, like, I want to hear the stuff that's hard to hear, and the stuff that maybe is, is just, things, where I can improve, because I think that's absolutely, what makes, everyone better is, those honest moments, for sure. And Kraken says, I've been digging the community thing on YouTube. I like using Discord for the the End Club PA, because everyone can chat how they want to while not losing pertinent information. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, but I think this little community page is certainly a fun thing to open up here. Mr. 705 says, I don't think it's a lack of enthusiasm on your part. I think it's a lack of enthusiasm in general with car reviews. Years ago, I'd watch everything. Now, with less time, I just can't watch. And I'm right there with you. And I think, again, a lot of us are that same exact way. So, and that's why, some of the stuff, it's not like something I can even be mad about. It's because I don't watch car videos either. So, yeah, it's just trying to find the best way to ride the waves. And if I can't ride them anymore, it's a fun ride while it lasted. But let me see. Linda says she doesn't watch TikTok. So sorry. Well, I'm glad you don't. I mean, TikTok is cool. I actually, I have had a little bit of success with the TikTok for the relics of the Rust Belt. That's actually kind of growing nicely. Not crazy huge yet, but I see a little bit of promise there. I mean, the good thing about TikTok, at least now, it's finally paying creators, and it's that's one thing Instagram still doesn't do. So like, I do have to give TikTok some credit there for that, and we'll see what happens. But that's kind of one of the things I'll continue to be cultivating is, I think those junkyard things really are perfectly packaged for short form. So that's kind of great that I can kind of double dip with those of having it be popular in short form and have it be part of a popular long hour long kind of video as well, for those who do want to watch the long form still. So hopefully those junkyard videos still continue to do well. I really do feel like that could kind of be like the next step for me, and this channel could kind of kind of be in the background a little bit more and still do reviews, but just not as predominantly as maybe the junkyard stuff. We'll see, because I think I have enthusiasm for that. Hopefully that comes through in those videos, and it's something that's if you don't have the time to watch the hour-long video, you either take it in sections, or again, you just watch the short form stuff, and hopefully eventually I'll get paid that way too for those as well. So I'm excited to see where that goes here. Let me see. Michelle says, thanks. Excited for the move. I've got relatives in Dallas too, so it'll be nice to be closer to them. Adventure indeed. Gonna load up my car and my parents' TX and drive there from Raleigh. That's awesome. Well, hope it's a good road trip, and enjoy the Dallas area. And Edge says it's because all the EV cars are copy paste, no creativity, no soul, so people are not as excited for cars. I mean, I don't agree. We've talked about that before, and I'll leave it at that. But I think that there's still plenty to talk about with EVs. There's a lot of differences still, and I enjoy covering them. But I have scaled back on EVs this year, and I'll continue to scale back, and I'll follow the market. If people are not shopping for EVs as much, then I don't need to review them. Even as much as I like them, it doesn't matter what I like. It matters what people are searching for, and if that's not that, then that's okay. So we'll see how that goes. But I have really turned down a lot of EVs this year, and I'll be doing a couple here, in December and January, but I think it's going to really thin out with EV reviews for a while, for sure. Because just, we're going to see the sales are going to crater for the next few months. We're going to probably follow the exact same thing Germany did. Germany got rid of their incentives in 2023, I think. 2024 sales were horrible, and then this year's sales have now rebounded because everyone that wanted in Germany pushed forward their purchase in 2023. So that's why there's just no buyers in 2024, because everyone already bought. And so then by 2025, though, you started getting some people who again needed a car again or whatever. And now they're setting records in Germany once again for EVs, and they're growing really nicely. So I think we'll see the same thing. I think 2026 will be a complete crap year for EVs. But I think we could start to see a rebound by 2027. Now, obviously, we have a more, deregulated space than Germany does. So, there's less incentive to continue that. But like even just this week, GM, I think it was actually just today or yesterday, GM CEO Mary Barra said, we're still going to improve fuel economy, even without any kind of regulation. She's like, we still believe in pushing forward with this. And I mean, they still are pushing forward with the EVs as well. And I love GM for that they're saying, look, this was our plan. We're sticking to it. We don't care who's running the country or what the rules are. This was our plan. We all agreed to this, and this is what we're still going to do. And so I can respect that instead of, trying to cash in and make a few quick bucks like, we're seeing Ram try and do and some others. I really respect GM for saying, we still care about fuel economy. We still care about, reducing emissions and all that. And that's great. But Mr. 705 says, not to get too political, but have you been following the current South Park episodes? I haven't. If they posted one in the past week or so, I haven't watched that. But I have been watching this season. It's getting like weirder and weirder, though. I mean, it was weird from the start, but like, there's parts of it that I enjoy, and there's other parts where I'm like, I don't know if I need to be watching this because it's like it gets really out there. And just I wish it was a little less outlandish, but maybe the outlandishness is what they're doing to protect themselves so that it doesn't get too much scrutiny. I don't know, but I did enjoy some of the moments from South Park this year for sure. And let me see. Etch was asking what was for dinner. Tonight we had like a breaded chicken thing, but as far as yeah, that was unless you're asking about maybe what Linda was talking about earlier. I don't recall the dinner we went to a while back whenever she gifted that. But yeah, yeah, we have our little rotation of dinner stuff that we usually go through and try and meal plan a little bit so that we're not, trying to figure out at the last minute what to always make. And let me see. Luke says, do I see a Faraday box on your shelf or am I seeing things? Not sure which one you're looking at there. There's no Faraday box though. But I did do a shelf tour. So you are a member, Luke. So if you didn't catch the shelf tour, definitely check that out. And you'll be able to, scroll through all the things there on the shelf and see a close-up view of whatever it is you might be looking at there. So, but yeah, no Faraday boxes up there. And Lancelot says, no mention of a GR Corolla in this live stream. That's true. We did not mention it. So it'll be a sober night for everyone, I guess. Feel free to enjoy your drinks without a mention there. But yeah, thanks for bringing it up, Lancelot. And Dumpling Mustard says, not to brag, but my YouTube recap tells me I'm in the top 0.1% of viewers of this channel with 269 videos. Wow. Well, thank you so much. It really does help. I mean, every view these days really helps and really matters. And so, yeah, I thank you so much. It's always very humbling that people care to spend time listening to me talk about cars and hang out here in these lives and everything else. So thank you so much. And that's crazy. I wish I had a gold star to send you, but yeah, I do have something I think I need to send you a message about, Tumbling Mustard, about other unrelated kinds of things, but something I found recently that I might be sending your way. So stay tuned. I'll give you an email here soon. But Darren says that the Charger looks so damn fun. Yeah, the Charger is a really fun one. I hope that people, appreciate that car for what it is and enjoy it because it's a really fun one. And let me see. Michelle says, with the move, I'll be having to give up my Jetta, which I'm bummed about. Oh, that's a bummer. But I'm factoring in rent and everything. The car payment will make things tight. I'll be back to the 16 Passat as my car. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I guess hopefully you can get back to the Jetta maybe someday. I mean, at least you like the Passat still. So hopefully that'll all be all right. Yeah, hopefully you can work your way up and get back to making some good money and getting a car, a newer car here soon. And Etch says, the Sophia and the Force Reviews guy, no, he's the one who does Redline reviews. Wicked Beats says, I got to go full dad in the reviews. Dad jokes and all, separate yourself from these childless reviewers. Yeah, I mean, I could try and work in some more jokes. I think that certainly the humor component is one thing that others do a lot better than I do. I think I'm very much like, I don't know what just very dry, I suppose, with the reviews of just being very much covering everything in a concise, professional kind of manner. But I think, yeah, maybe trying to be sillier could also be another thing that would certainly help. Because I know, that keeps people watching. If I can make someone laugh, if I can, do something crazy or some gag, like stuffing, Twinkies in the cup holders or whatever, that like, Joe Rady does and some others. If I can, things like that, might make the difference. So maybe that's a fun thing to brainstorm is, what random crap can I throw in cup holders next year to, kind of quantify things and maybe be a little bit helpful with that as well. That's a good idea. So I appreciate, the the reiteration that I need to be sillier and a little more funny next year, and maybe a few dad jokes as well. My dad is the king of dad jokes, so I have plenty of inspiration and plenty of stuff to pull from. So, so I'll maybe try and work some of that into my reviews here in the future. So thank you for the suggestion. And Jimmy says, I have a 2025 Equinox RS if you want to review near Monroeville. I appreciate the offer. I've already covered the Equinox, so I'm good on that one. But I hope you're enjoying your Equinox. And yeah, I think most of the stuff I'll be looking to review is more of the older, sporty stuff. It's gonna be the primary focus for sure, because I think that's what most people are nostalgic for, what they want to see, what they don't get on a regular basis from other review channels. That's kind of the stuff I'm going to be focusing on. And Darn Walton says, at the end of the day, Matt, do what is best for your family in regards to the YouTube channel. Would hate to see you drag it out and resent sharing videos or never doing it again. Yeah, and I think I'm definitely gonna obviously do what's the best for the family. And like I've said in the past, if this channel comes to an end, then I'll still do personal updates on my own personal cars, once or twice a year. I'll still hop on a live from time to time if my, employer allows me to or whatever, depending on who it is I work for and, what I'm able to do. But, I think that, it's tough, because I also think, this channel does have a lot of value. 457,000 subscribers shouldn't be worthless, and to over 200 million video views, and still bringing in, even on a bad day, 10 to 12,000 views a day is, it's not worthless. And so trying to figure out, when to walk away is hard, because it's like there is value here, and this is, a giant thing of us from a community standpoint, from a just sentimental standpoint. I mean, I've poured my heart and soul into this thing for, basically 15 years, 10 years full time. That's a hard thing to just walk away from, as anyone who's left a long time job or something like that can say. It's, and especially with this, as I've crafted it so much, I haven't been taking orders from a boss. I've been just, doing my own thing for 10 years, full time. And it's really hard to figure out, what is the value of this, and where does it go? Is it worthless, or is it not? Yeah, it seems like it does have some value. And so trying to figure out, where that leaves me here, is kind of tricky thing. Do I hold on as long as I possibly can, or do I, cut my losses, realize it might not ever recover, and just kind of move on? I don't know. We'll have to see. But let me see. Etch is weighing in on the lifted trucks here. And let me see. I'm going to try and get caught up here so we can sign off, since we're a little bit over time here, but I don't mind hanging out. But just don't want to drag on too long here, because my voice is probably starting to go a little bit, although I think I'm doing okay with being sick and doing this. But let me see. Etch says best timeline was 90 to 2009, just went downhill 2010 for me, at least. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their viewpoints of high points and all that. But I think for me, like, definitely 2020 was when it, kind of all, that was when all the hits kind of started coming, and the easy fun days of this, kind of came to an end, I think, at that point. So, I mean, it's been a lot of fun in the past 5 years still, nonetheless, but, it's definitely, I'm very fortunate that I didn't really have very many challenges up until 2020 on this channel. It was all smooth sailing and just, naturally, following the open doors, having fun, and everything I did pretty well. it was pretty easy, shooting fish in a barrel for a while there. And I'm very fortunate that was the case, but everyone has hard times sooner or later, and you gotta just work through them the best you can and try and get out the other side. But let me see. So in Lucid says, I've been eyeballing 2018 to 2019 Audi SQ5s and saw your review a while back when it was new. Seems to be a really solid budget performance SUV. Do you agree? I haven't looked at pricing recently, but if they are a good price compared to their competitors, in that space, in that time period, the X3 M40i and stuff like that, then SQ5 is really good. I think I was annoyed by the throttle response. If you watched the review, you heard me kind of complain, I'm sure, plenty about the throttle response in that. But aside from that, if you test drive one and you like the way that it drives, absolutely could be a great buy. I think personally, if I'm spending my money on a used, European SUV like that, I would probably go X3 M40i though, because it sounds better. It's more responsive. It drives better. Slightly better tech, I'd say too, possibly. Although I think the Audi is pretty comparable with that. But just for me, I enjoyed the BMW a little bit more. Definitely check out that review if you haven't to hear my thoughts, because I actually drove those on the same day. It was part of a big drive event that I did for that. But yeah, SQ5, if it's the right price now and throttle response doesn't bother you, absolutely go for it. It's a great car, it seems. Older stuff, I always make sure, it's been very well maintained, get an extended warranty if you can. But should be a fun one for sure. And Michelle says, as a sedan driver, lifted trucks behind me at a red light. Headlights are basically shining into my mirrors. It's so annoying. Yep. Right there with you. And Big Chungus is asking how I'm feeling. Thank you. I'm still a little stuffed up, still kind of working through this cold I've had for about a week now, but I'm functional again. So that's why I was able to come on to the live here. And Etch says, can someone please talk me out of eating a whole bag of Ruffles? I mean, I can't make an argument against it. I'm sorry. And Darren Walton says, I got the street taco kit from Costco earlier tonight. You should get something like that instead of a suitcase of fried potatoes. There you go. And John Michael says, so I currently have a full bolt-on EcoBoost Mustang Pro tuned by Purple Drank. The GR86 has caught my eye. Would that be a good downgrade or a lateral move? It comes down to your priorities. If you are looking for something that's going to be fast in a straight line, you're better off, sticking with your Mustang. If you need to get out of the Mustang and you're looking for something new, I think going up to a GT is the natural, obvious, next step there. If you would like something that's a little closer to sports car territory, I would recommend going to Camaro. 6th gen Camaro handles much better than Mustang, in my opinion. Still gives you that nice upgrade in power if you go for the V8s. Gives you a nice upgrade in handling, and is just, I think, kind of a nice kind of upgrade there too. I love GR86. If you are looking for something that is slower and you're okay, you want to kind of experience the driving a slow car fast kind of thing, I think that GR86 is a great car for that. I think I still prefer Miata slightly, but if Miata's not your thing, GR86 is great. I love them to death. If I could afford one, I'd happily own one today. I love them that much. So definitely test drive one though, because if you are used to a full bolt-on EcoBoost Mustang, I mean, you're probably, with a Pro Tune and stuff, you got to be doing at least 350 at the crank, probably more, probably pretty close to that at the wheels even. So I mean, you're got to be a lot slower in a GR86. Test drive and see what you think. But yeah, I would kind of need more context to give you a great recommendation. I do also still do the one-on-one car advice calls. So anyone, if you're interested in having an actual, Zoom call kind of thing with me, Google Meet call, I always have those on my website there. You can book a call. Got my whole schedule up there. You can pick a time that works for you. Always happy to kind of chat with anyone who would like more personalized discussion on their car situation. And YH says SP has always been like that, 2 or 3 good episodes per season. TMI is still the funniest episode. There's all kinds of great ones. I could go through, I think all of the classic ones are my favorites that everyone always loves. But yeah, so many good South Parks. And also, Big Chungus asks if I'm a fan of the Charger EV. I am a fan of the Charger EV. One of the only fans of the Charger EV, but absolutely check out my review on it that I did about a year ago exactly on the Charger EV. It's really great. Yeah, I think these days you can get them for, I guess maybe a little bit less of a good deal because of the incentives going away, but there still should be some really good lease deals on them. So definitely, yeah, if you're interested, yeah, you'll be able to get a really good deal on it. And it's a ton of power for the money. And also, I'm not paying 42 grand for a Prelude. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Okay, Spaces. I really appreciate the generosity, and happy to see you were able to hang here tonight. And didn't see you comment, but even just hanging out and watching in the background, also always appreciate that as well. And let me see. Where were we here? Last few questions. Darren says that GR86, in his opinion, is a downgrade unless you want autocross track day live near a lot of twisties, right? And Michelle says he didn't anticipate I'd move out of a home a year after buying the car, but you can't always predict life changes, so it is what it is. It opens the doors for something better in the future. That's awesome, and yeah, that's the way to go about it. Ride the change and see where it takes you. And Etch says, see if the cup holders can hold a big gulp, the big gulp test. That'd be fun to do. Yeah, because I do love Dumb and Dumber. So being able to like plop a big gulp in the cup holder and be like, pig gulp. All right. Just put that in every review that it passes that test. Could be fun. Do people actually buy big gulps a lot these days? I don't know if is that like out of vogue to have a gigantic soft drink in your cup holder, or is that still the norm? Because I know everyone just has like the Nagaline bottles or whatever they're called, and like they're always just drinking 5 gallons of water a day, which is certainly healthier. But so I just don't know if a big gulp test is as relevant, but I'd happily do that because I'd have fun with that. So that's a good suggestion. Thank you for that, Etch. And Michelle says Passat is like the family heirloom at this point. We all love that car, so glad to get to prolong its life for more time. Yeah, that's awesome. Hope it continues to treat you well. And Linda says, I feel like Mustang videos are always welcome. Yeah, I'm hoping to do more. I'm always open to doing more. I've still been waiting to do a dark horse, been looking around for one. Have not had any luck in finding one. No one has offered me one or anything. Ford, hasn't sent any to this area. Still waiting to do a manual Mustang GT2. Also, yeah, I think that's the only other one I need to do is the GT manual and then the dark horse for now. And, we'll see again, if I still am doing this next year and I get an invite from Ford, I think we should be seeing the new GT500, in 2026. That was just Spy recently running around again, looking pretty close to production ready, I think. So, it should be a fun year for, the high horsepower Mustang fans out there, and hope I get to cover that one. We'll see. Let me see. Mr. Logic says, I was watching some of your older reviews and I came across your BRZ days. Anyways, just want to say I'm happy to see how far you've come, Matt. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, it's been a fun ride. And thanks so much for, all the old, video views as well. It's fun. It's a fun nostalgia trip. And I hope that, even if, again, I quit doing this channel, those videos will always stay up here and will always be kind of a fun snapshot of that era and that time period of car culture and automotive industry and all that. And I think, will be very fun to look back on and have as an archive, for a long time, hopefully. And Mark says, hey, Matt, happy to say I got my Lexus IS 500 Ultimate Edition delivered today. That's awesome. Well, congrats. New car day. That's huge. And man, I don't know what you're doing here. You should be out driving some more, right? You get those break-in miles in and have a blast. Great choice, too. And I mean, the Ultimate Edition is certainly going to be very collectible, last of its kind, and just fantastic car. Also at a fantastic price still. Such a great value, because no one else really offers a V8 in that segment. They do. They're way more expensive. So just such a cool car. I'm hoping that I get one as a press car here. They don't have it in the fleet currently, but I'm hoping that once the weather gets nicer here next year, again, if I'm still doing this at that point, I hope to do one last drive in an IS 500 because I loved the review I did a few years back. It was great. And Linda agrees about the jokes being a good idea. And she says, find out what cars are selling well and highlight those features. Yeah, I mean, I am definitely always keeping an eye on, search volume to see, what people are looking for on YouTube. Google Trends is a really great tool that I use to, punch in different cars and see, okay, well, what has the search volume been for this car over the past year or the past couple of months, whatever the case is. And that's kind of how I decide which of the used cars I pick to review oftentimes. It's just, how much of that search volume is coming in. And that has proven to be a fairly reliable predictor of video success long-term. And so I'm hoping to keep, doing that very wisely here next year to maximize the views as best I can. And Etch says he's at 515 horsepower with his GT, but he still needs more. Well, yeah, best of luck in that pursuit. And, maybe if you have the money, go for this new GT 500 next year. Could be the ticket for you there. And it's for 705. Last question here I see. He says, have you watched Pluribus? I have not. I've never heard of that show, or if that's a show or But yeah, I'll have to check that out. Thanks for the suggestion and the recommendation. But yeah, I think we have caught up here to all the comments and the questions. And so thank you all so much for all the great discussion here tonight. Apologies for the tangents, but thank you all so much for the super chats, for the gifting, and for everything you guys do and just watching. Again, it really does help. And yeah, that's still the best thing you can do is watch a video all the way through. That's the best thing to help the video succeed, help the channel succeed. Watch time is king on YouTube, and I know that's hard because again we're busy, we don't have time to watch videos, but that's the name of the game for success. Still is keeping those videos rolling as long as possible. But anyway, hope you all have a great rest of your night. Have a great week. Stay tuned for again my coverage of this new Toyota and Lexus, sports car, supercar kind of thing coming out here tomorrow night. I'm going to have a review here coming out earlier tomorrow as well, and go for the live here on Sunday as well. So stay tuned for that too. But thank you all so much once again. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And take care.